Hi, it's Karen and
Pluto.
here for Karen and Bluto's not another review channel with another movie review. What are you looking at over there?
I was looking at your pops. They look cool.
Yeah, I think they look nice since we've been moving some stuff around in the house here. Anywho, another movie review for you guys. Another one that Bluto did not watch with me because he's a turd.
Sorry. You don't watch anything good. Like trauma movies.
I don't like trauma movies.
And I don't like these.
Anyway, so this review is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I thought you said Spidey.
Spideyverse. I have
You said that one before we were
I keep calling it the multiverse. So,
another Spider-Man movie.
Anyways, it's an animated movie. It was out.
Real animation or like Frozen animation?
No, like cartoon animation.
Okay, I think I
was
like
out,
old Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it was out late 2018. I think right around Christmas or right after Christmas. PG. It's an hour and 56 minutes.
That's why I don't watch them.
I actually
an hour and 10-minute movie.
Let me tell you a funny story with this, and it's only because I didn't do a review of this movie. I actually had no desire to see this movie, but then I had rented Venom twice.
I heard that was bad.
I liked it. And the only reason I rented it twice is 20 minutes before the end, the disc went goofy and I couldn't finish watching it. So I got a free rental and re-rented it so I could see the end. And they had a clip of this. And I was kind of watching it. I'm like, you know what? I'm a little curious to see this now. So that's kind of where it came from. Anyways, getting into the movie, it starts with Peter Parker talking. Peter Parker talking about being Spider-Man for the past 10 years.
Sam Raimi directed this?
No, I don't think. And he says about being the one and only. Kind of goes on, about fighting and everything else. Then we go to our other character, Miles. He's a teenage boy. He's packing for school. Here his dad is a police officer and he's taking him to school because Miles, instead of going to the local public school, is going to some higher private school that he got a scholarship or something for.
What grade is he in?
I'm guessing he's probably about 15, 16.
Jeez.
So, his dad ends up taking him to school and dropping him off, and they're discussing about cleaning up the vandalism while everything. And then his dad basically embarrasses the heck out of him when he gets to school, because he goes over his loudspeaker and he's like, "I love you, son." And Miles was like, "Dad, stop! You're embarrassing me." Because it doesn't mean if you don't. And I was kind of chuckling because it reminded me of one of my coworkers, the way he is with his son. So that's why I think I laughed a little too hard at that. But he starts trying to do things at this other school to try to get kicked out to be able to go back to his public school setting where all his friends at. And basically he kind of lives there during the week. It seems like it's not close to home. But he basically, I guess, sneaks out at one point to go see his uncle Aaron. And this is his dad, I believe, younger brother. But they're talking about, because I guess Miles is really into doing graffiti and all that as well. And all that. So his uncle takes him down into like this abandoned trade station to do some graffiti, and this is where he gets bit by a spider. Because
is that legal?
Not really.
Oh.
So basically he gets bit by a mutated spider, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, like a Spider Babe. That's a better movie.
Yeah. And then he ends up waking up and his clothes have shrunk and he's hearing he can hear everybody's conversations real loud. So like overnight, he kind of like if you've seen the other Spider-Man movies, that's kind of what happens with him. He gets,
not into that.
He gets, has all the like height, muscle, all that fun stuff.
I like Batman.
So he basically goes to school and like it's just a total mess at school because he's like hearing things too loud. His clothes aren't fitting right, and
well, school's horrible.
I
didn't like it. Sorry.
Anyways, he ends up bumping into this other girl. I think she's Gwen, but I can't remember if that's how she introduces herself.
I knew a girl named Gwen.
So eventually he goes to the comic book store. He's grabbing comic books, trying to get answers on what is going on with him. He goes back to the subway trying to find the spider.
Why don't you just Google it?
I can't remember how he remembers he gets bit by a spider. Anyways, in the middle of all this, he sees Spider-Man fighting Green Goblin, so he kind of starts following him. Miles starts following Spider-Man, and here, somehow in the middle of all this, Spider-Man figures out Miles is just like him. and says that he can help him. Eventually, they run into Kingpin in all the middle of this. He is built Kingpin.
Oh,
you know, the big bad guy.
I don't know. I thought you said Pigpen.
Because you're not listening.
Nope.
He had built this machine that's supposed to be able to go through dimensions, but it's very, very unstable. Spider-Man asked Miles to help him, but he needs to disguise himself so he's not seen because they need to destroy this machine. Well, the bad guys end up cornering Spider-Man and because he got hurt really bad. I think it's because he was trying to save Miles, so Miles ended up screwing up. Spider-Man gets hurt. He gets unmasked, and they basically kill Spider-Man. They find out it was Peter
For real?
Parker. Yeah.
Wow.
In the middle of all this, Miles accidentally exposes himself, and he ends up getting chased.
Really?
Not in that way.
Oh! I thought maybe his little ding-dong fell out.
No.
Oh.
So after Miles escapes, he ends up back home and just has to stay for the night instead of going back to school. So the next day, there's all these news reports confirming that Spider-Man is dead and says about him being Peter Parker. So everyone's like, oh, okay.
The secret is out.
Yeah. So basically, it comes out that Miles they end up selling out like all these, at a costume store with all these Spider-Man outfits. So he tries to go get one to disguise himself. And here there's a Stan Lee cameo in this part.
All right.
Drawn in.
Okay.
He goes to City Hall where they're doing a memory thing, and Mary Jane, who was married to Peter Parker, and if you know from the comics, what are you doing?
It sure feels weird.
Oh, she's given a speech about everything Peter has done. So Miles goes back and gets more comic books to learn how Spider-Man is. And basically,
it's a good thing he's like the comic books.
There was this chip that Spider-Man had given Miles before he died to put into the machine that's supposed to destroy the machine. Well, he still has the chip, so he wants to figure out how to become Spider-Man so he can do what Spider-Man couldn't finish. And in the middle of all this, he ends up breaking the chip that was needed to take care of things.
There was more than one chip?
What?
I'm sorry about you spoiling stuff.
Okay. So
it's just so predictable, I guess.
Miles and this is the part that kind of made me want to watch this movie because it was interesting and comical at the same time.
Okay.
So Miles goes to the cemetery and basically goes to Peter's grave and apologizes, like, basically, I screwed up. I don't know what to do. Well, all of a sudden, somebody comes up behind him, taps him on the shoulder, and it's Spider-Man. So,
in a costume?
Basically, yeah, I think he was in a costume, but somehow Miles knocks him out or something. Oh. And it's an out of shape Spider-Man.
Out of shape?
Yeah. So basically what it comes down to is this person that showed up is Peter B. Parker. He's been Spider-Man for 22 years, and his story is different. So what it is this machine that Kingpin has built is bringing other Spider-Men in from other dimensions. So basically what happens is this other Peter Parker is telling his story, and that he was basically at his house and the dimension portal opened and sucked him in, and he ended up showing up there. So basically, the police show up, they start chasing him. Like I said, the Peter B. Parker gets knocked out. It's total chaos because Miles is trying to do web slingers, and somehow he's dragging this other Spider-Man with him, and it's very funny because it's just like everything that could go wrong goes wrong.
I like how Spider-Babe shoots her webs.
So it comes down to Miles takes this other Peter Parker back to his uncle's apartment, but his uncle's not there. Miles ties him up and is basically questioning him, and they find out something about like anybody pulled in from another dimension into this current dimension, their atoms don't mesh, and basically they need to get him back to his regular dimension. Otherwise, I guess he's going to die. They don't really say too much about this, but throughout, like, they start glitching out because their atoms don't mesh.
This sounds complicated.
So basically, Miles gets this new Peter Parker, as I keep putting B because that's how he dresses himself, as Peter B. Parker, to teach him. And
What's
then
the B stand for?
They don't say.
Pluto.
So basically, at one point, they go and break into this company called Alchemex. I think I have it written as.
Okay.
This is Kingpin's company that's doing all this dimension stuff. And here in the middle of all this, Miles learns that one of his special powers is he can become invisible, but he can't control it.
I'd have that power.
He can't figure out. Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I'd go in the women's shower.
Kind of. It ends up being funny because he's told to be the lookout. While the other Peter is trying to figure out some things and figure out how to
Peter
bite me.
Sorry, I was thinking of something else.
So they decide to take the one scientist's computer. Well, she ends up coming back while the other Peter Parker's there and like hitting on him. And Miles tries to take the computer, but he's invisible, but you can see the computer moving. So basically, it comes down that the scientist that comes back is the Doc Otto in this dimension. She's a female. Dr. Octopus or Dr. Otto, whatever he is. You don't know the Spider-Man stuff, so.
No, I don't.
So basically, they're trying to escape. They're being chased by her. And then Spider-Woman shows up, Gwen. And the thing is, Miles had met her at school. And she's from another dimension. She's been Spider-Woman for 2 years. And the reason why she became what she is because she couldn't save Peter Parker in her dimension, who was her friend.
Yep, moving on.
Anyways,
I forget what you're talking about.
No, I wrote something down, but I don't remember. Anyways, there's something about it. Kingpin was fighting the Spider-Man crew. A family sees but leaves the accident. I don't remember any of that. Anyways, they all end up going to the Peter in this current dimension's Aunt May's house.
Okay.
And to ask her if she knows what's going on. And basically she says it took them long enough to show up because then there's all these other Spider-Mans from other dimensions. There's Spider-Pig. There's one from Spider-Pig. Yeah.
I like that.
So Spider-Pig or Spider-Ham? I can't remember.
Spider-Pig sounds funnier.
But yeah, there's a few other one. And basically they're all developing a new chip and Spider-Man in this dimension has a big old spider cave.
Why does everybody have a cave? They're trying to be like Batman.
Yep. So I was touching my back. It was hurting a little bit. So basically in this section, I'm okay. So this part when the other spider ones are there, they're all telling their stories and everything. And they try to give Miles a test to determine, if he's up to the challenge and up to working with them. And basically Miles fails the challenge. I don't remember what all it was.
Okay. Must not be important.
Basically, at this point, too, Miles is missing, so his family is trying to contact him. They're going to his, trying to reach out to him. Miles goes to his Uncle Aaron's house, but he was followed. And here, there was a phone call made earlier in the movie, which I was kind of already suspecting this when it happened. Here, his Uncle Aaron is the Prowler, one of Kingpin's cronies.
I like that movie.
No, not
the Prowler.
Not that Prowler.
What are you doing? You're making
just saying.
Jeez.
So Miles kind of doesn't know what to do at this point because he stayed invisible to find out, what was going on, and he was this person. But like I said, when this phone call came in earlier in the movie, I kind of suspected his uncle was a bad guy. But they go back to the spiders, as I put the spiders making the new chip.
The spiders.
All the Spider-Man and woman and
how many were there?
Pig. I don't remember.
10.
No, I don't think it was that many.
7.
Miles comes back and states about the Prowler. He was followed, and he ends up being followed to Aunt May's house, and it's fighting again. So Miles tries to escape with all the fighting. Are you having fun playing with my shirt?
It's different. Usually wear those kitty and puppy dog ones.
Well, it's because I'm not in scrubs today. And basically the Prowler ends up capturing Miles when he's trying to escape, and Miles reveals himself. And obviously Prowler, his uncle, doesn't know what to do at that point. Kingpin orders him to finish him. The Prowler doesn't. So Kingpin shoots Uncle Aaron / Prowler.
So you said Prowler.
They have a heart-to-heart. Aaron tells Miles that like he was always the best of everybody in the family, you know, be better than me, and then he eventually dies. But in the middle of all this, while Miles is in the alley with his uncle before he dies, his dad shows up, and here his dad thinks Spider-Man killed his brother.
How does Dad know where they were?
Because I think they got police call with all the chaos going on in Aunt May's house with the fighting.
Oh. Okay.
The others, I have the others show up to say what brought each of them into becoming the Spider-Man. Oh no, they tell them they're in to do this, but they know because Miles isn't ready that one of them's going to stay behind to activate the chip, but they're basically going to die. So, at one point, Peter B. Parker basically tells Miles that he's staying behind so the others can get back home, and so they can destroy the machine. And basically Miles is arguing, I can do it, nobody needs to die. And Peter goes, no, you're not ready. And he's basically trying to protect Miles. Miles asks when will he know if he's ready. He says he won't. It's just a leap of faith. So eventually Miles' dad shows up at the dorm to let him know something happened to his uncle. And his dad's talking to him through the door about why he pushes him, because he pushes him to be better, you know, and everything. Well, then it turns out, cutting away to the other spider heroes, Kingpin decides to have this celebration of Spider-Man. Ha, 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 because he's the bad guy. So they figure out, all the spider heroes like, okay, this is how we're going to break in. So the machine's running in the basement. They basically go in, but they're all starting to glitch and everything. Eventually the bad guys know they're all there. Miles, in the middle of all this too, is like learning what he can do, figuring out, quote unquote, takes the leap of faith. He actually goes back to Aunt May's, and she's like, well, it's about time you showed up. He designs his own suit, and he goes to help them because he finally is able to manage his powers. And here, all the dimensions start kind of colliding together at this point. So it's like a very, very big mess.
Wow.
Really? So basically it gets to the point Miles able to get the chip in place so everybody can start going home. Kingpin shows up and tries to stop them. Oh, the reason why Kingpin was developing this machine, that's what I messed up on, and I just came through. Basically, at one point in the past, he had a wife and son, and I guess he was hiding what he truly was from them. And here they walked in on him doing something. His wife took off with his son. They ended up in an accident and dying. So he was trying to make this to bring them back somehow, which I don't know with the dimension stuff and everything, because that just seems like that should be a time machine and not a dimensional machine. But anyways.
Back to the Future.
Kingpin basically shows up trying to stop them. He says he'll stay behind and fight Kingpin. Everyone else needs to get home. Eventually, Kingpin's like, oh, I got to destroy one Spider-Man. And somehow it was something with Spider-Man got blamed for his family's death, even though his family he was trying to save the family or something. So Kingpin's going on, oh, I get to kill Spider-Man. I killed you once, I'll kill you twice or whatever. So eventually there's this green button that destroys the machine. So somehow Miles eventually sends Kingpin towards this green button. It destroys everything, and everything gets sucked back in where it needs to go. So, yeah. So anyways, after everything's done, Miles calls his dad, and they start talking things out. They hang up. Then Miles dressed as Spider-Man, goes over and talks to his dad and says about working with him. Then eventually it ends with Miles like explaining his story. He's like, hi, my name's Miles. I can't remember his last name. And I've been Spider-Man for 2 days now or something like that.
His last name is To Go.
And he says about, working, how the others went back and what the others are doing. And then it ends with Gwen calling Miles through the dimension.
How's that work?
I don't remember. And then the ending... Oh, the ending, it was funny.
After the credits,
They were talking about making the films back in Spider-Man 67 or something. And then on there as a bonus was a Spider-Pig film or Spider-Ham film, whatever he was called. And that was kind of it. So, I mean, like I said, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy this.
That's good.
Because as you know, with a lot of the comic books, there are...
It seems long and boring.
Yeah.
What do I know?
No, I mean, it was kind of going on about how there are multiple dimensions usually with a lot of these comic book characters and everything. So that's kind of what this explored a little bit more. What the heck?
My head's not going to be chopped off, is it?
No. Whenever you're going up,
you keep moving.
Whatever.
Sit still.
No. So... since Bluto's getting grumpy, we're going to wrap this review up. So please, now your head's cut off.
Sorry.
Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you know when we post new content.
I guess that was a sentence.
Yeah. Help share the page. It would be greatly appreciated.
Post it on Facebook. And then Karen will like it.
Yeah. If you're friends with me on Facebook.
Even if you're not, she'll still like it.
How am I going to know?
Because you know when stuff like it happens. That's how awesome you are.
I wish. If there's something you would like us to review, look in the comments. Post it in the comments. I will see about getting it. If I can't get it, I will add it to our Amazon wish list if you're willing to help us out with that. Also, check out my other channel.
I thought something you could add.
What?
The Ghostbusters cartoon Blu-ray box set, the one that comes in that house.
I know nothing about that.
I think it is. It's the cartoon. Remember, it comes in the house. Oh, wait a minute. No. It's a Scooby-Doo. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Ghostbusters. Remember the Scooby-Doo? Well, one was released. All right, never mind.
I have no clue.
Forget I said that.
I have no clue what he's talking about.
I do.
Also, check out my other channel, K-Dog Games, Toys, and More for toy and game reviews, because I keep forgetting to promote that as well. And I think that's it. So we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.